Audio sync. Hey there. So today I think I'm going to read a little poetry from Redbird, poems by Mary Oliver, winner of the Pulitzer Prize and the National Book Award. I do believe I'm going to begin on page 35. Sometimes. Something came up out of the dark. It wasn't anything I had ever seen before. It wasn't an animal or a flower, unless it was both. Something came up out of the water, a head the size of a cat, but muddy and without ears. I don't know what God is. I don't know what death is. But I believe they have between them some fervent and necessary arrangement. Sometimes melancholy leaves me breathless. Later, I was in a field full of sunflowers. I was feeling the heat of midsummer. I was thinking of the sweet electric drowse of creation when it began to break. In the west, clouds gathered, thunderheads. In an hour, the sky was filled with them. In an hour, the sky was filled with the sweetness of rain and the blast of lightning, followed by the deep bells of thunder. Water from the heavens, electricity from the source, both of them mad to create something. The lightning brighter than any flower, the thunder without a drowsy bone in its body. Instructions for living life. Pay attention, be astonished, tell about it. 2 or 3 times in my life I discovered love. Each time it seemed to solve everything. Each time it solved a great many things, but not everything. Yet left me as grateful as if it had indeed, and thoroughly solved everything. God, rest in my heart and fortify me. Take away my hunger for answers. Let the hours play upon my body. Let the hours play upon my body like the hands of my beloved. Let the cat head appear again. The smallest of your mysteries, some wild cousin of my own bloody, probably. Some wild cousin of my own blood, probably. Some cousin of my own wild blood, probably. In the black dinner bowl of the pond. Death waits for me, I know it, around one corner or another. This doesn't amuse me, neither does it frighten me. After the rain, I went back into the field of sunflowers. It was cool, and I was anything but drowsy. I walked slowly and listened to the crazy roots in the drenched earth laughing and growing. Percy 9. Your friend is coming, I say to Percy, and name a name. And he runs to the door, his wide mouth in its laugh shape, and waves, since he has one, his tail. Emerson, I am trying to live, as you said we must, the examined life. But there are days I wish there was less in my head to examine, not to speak of the busy heart. How would it be to be Percy, I wonder, not thinking, not weighing anything, just running forward. Black Swallowtail. The caterpillar, interesting but not exactly lovely, humped along among the parsley leaves, eating, always eating. Then one night it was gone, and in its place a small green confinement hung by 2 silk threads on a parsley stem. I think it took nothing with it except faith and patience. And then one morning it expressed itself into the most beautiful being. Red. All the while I was teaching in the state of Virginia, I wanted to see Gray Fox. Finally I found him. He was in the highway. He was singing his death song. I picked him up and carried him into a field while the cars kept coming. He showed me how he could ripple, how he could bleed. Goodbye, I said to the light of his eye as the cars went by. 2 mornings later I found the other. She was in the highway. She was singing her death song. I picked her up. And carried her into the field where she rippled half of her gray, half of her red while the cars kept coming. Gray Fox and Gray Fox. Red, red, red. From this river, when I was a child, I used to drink. That's the title. From this river, when I was a child, I used to drink. But when I came back, I found that the body of the river was dying. Did it speak? Yes, it sang out the old songs, but faintly. What will you do? I will grieve, of course, but that's nothing. What precisely will you grieve for? For the river, for myself, my lost joyfulness, for the children who will not know what a river can be, a friend, a companion, a hint of heaven. Isn't this somewhat overplayed? I said, it can be a friend, a companion, a hint of heaven. Here's another title. Watching a documentary. Can I say that word? Watching a documentary. All right. Watching a documentary about polar bears trying to survive on the melting ice floes. That's what it says in bigger print. I don't know if it's really the title. But watching a documentary about polar bears trying to survive on the melting ice floes. That God had a plan, I do not doubt. But what if his plan was that we would do better? That was the whole poem right there. And I've read this one before, and this one actually created a lot of views, but I did read it outside. But let's try it here in this setting. And I read it from this book previously, Devotions, but this book's a compilation, which is why it's in this book. Redbird, page 46 of the Empire. Excuse me. Maybe a little drink of water. Actually, that's tea with umka in it. Or it's hot water with umka. It's kind of like tea. It's got a little lemon flavor. See what my daughter gave me. I don't know if it wants to focus on it. And I can tap on it on my phone. It has a hard time with that one, but it did focus there briefly. Of the Empire. We will be known as a culture that feared death and adored power, that tried to vanquish insecurity for the few and cared little for the penury of the many. We will be known as a culture that taught and rewarded the amassing of things, that spoke little, if at all, about the quality of life for people, other people, for dogs, for rivers. All the world, in our eyes, they will say, was a commodity. And they will say that this structure was held together politically, which it was, and they will say also that our politics was no more than an apparatus to accommodate the feelings of the heart, and that the heart, in those days, was small and hard and full of meanness. Page 47. I don't know why I was trying to read that kind of with the same inflection that I had read it prior. And for some reason it just took the wind out of me. I don't know. Something about that. Not this, not that. Probably something to do with how I was reading it. Excuse me. Not this, not that. Nor anything. Not the eastern wind whose other name is rain, nor the burning heats of the dunes at the crown of summer, nor the ticks, that new, voracious populace, not the president who loves blood, nor the governmental agencies that love money, will alter my love for you, my friends and my beloved, or for you, O ghosts of Emerson and Whitman. Oh, for you, oh blue sky of a summer morning, that makes me roll in a barrel of gratitude down hills. Or for you, oldest of friends, hope. Or for you, newest of friends, faith. Or for you, silliest and dearest of surprises, my own life. In the pasture, on the first day of snow, when the white curtain of winter began to stream down, the house where I lived grew distant. And at first it seemed imperative to hurry home. But later, not much later, I began to see that soft snowbound house as I would always remember it, and I would linger a long time in the pasture, turning in circles, staring at all the crisp, exciting snow-filled roads that led away. For some reason, I'd like to read that again. In the pasture. On the first day of snow, when the white curtain of winter began to stream down, the house where I lived grew distant, and at first it seemed imperative to hurry home. But later, not much later, I began to see that soft, snowbound house as I would always remember it, and I would linger a long time in the pasture, turning in circles, staring at all the crisp, exciting, snow-filled roads that led away. Both worlds. Forever busy, it seems, with words. Finally, I put the pen down and crumple most of the sheets and leave one or two, sometimes a few, for the next morning. Day after day, year after year, it has gone this way. I rise from the chair, I put on my jacket and leave the house for that other world. The first one, the holy one, where the trees say nothing, the toad says nothing, the dirt says nothing, and yet what has always happened keeps happening. The trees flourish, the toad leaps, and out of the silent dirt, the blood-red roses rise. We should be well prepared. The way the plovers cry goodbye, the way the dead fox keeps on looking down the hill with open eye, the way the leaves fall and then there's the long wait, the way someone says, we must never meet again. The way mold spots the cake, the way sourness overtakes the cream, the way the river water rushes by, never to return. The way the days go by, never to return. The way somebody comes back, but only in a dream. Let's try that again. We should be well prepared. The way the plovers cry goodbye, the way the dead fox keeps on looking down the hill with open eye, the way the leaves fall, and then there's the long wait. The way someone says we must never meet again. The way mold spots the cake. The way sourness overtakes the cream. The way the river water rushes by, never to return. The way the days go by, never to return. The way somebody comes back, but only in a dream. Desire. So long as I am hanging on, I want to be young and noble. I want to be bold. So said the great buck, named Swirler, as he stepped like a king past me the week before he was arrow-killed. And so said the wren in the bush after another hard year of love, of nest life, of singing. And so I say every morning, just before sunrise, waiting the edge of the dark ocean. I ask Percy how I should live my life. 10. Love, 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 says Percy, and run as fast as you can, along the shining beach or the rubble or the dust. Then go to sleep. Give up your body heat, your beating heart. Then trust. Swimming one day in August. It is time now, I said, for the deepening and quieting of the spirit among the flux of happenings. Something had been pestered me so much. Something had pestered me so much, I thought my heart would break. I mean, the mechanical part. I went down in the afternoon to the sea, which held me until I grew easy. About tomorrow, who knows anything, except that it will be time again for the deepening and quieting of the spirit. Mornings at Blackwater. Mornings at Blackwater. For years, every morning I drank from Blackwater Pond. It was flavored with oak leaves and also, no doubt, the feet of ducks. And always it assuaged me from the dry bowl of the very far past. What I want to say is that the past is the past, and the present is what your life is. And you are capable of choosing what that will be, darling citizen. So come to the pond, or the river of your imagination, or the harbor of your longing, and put your lips to the world, and live your life. Who said this? Something whispered something that was not even a word. It was more like a silence that was understandable. I was standing at the edge of the pond. Nothing living, what we call living, was in sight. And yet, the voice entered me, my body life, with so much happiness. And there was nothing there but the water, the sky, the grass. This day, and probably tomorrow also, full of thought, regret, hope dashed or not dashed yet, full of memory, pride, and more than enough of spilled personal grief, I begin another page, another poem. So many notions fill the day. I give them gowns of words, sometimes I give them little shoes that rhyme. What an elite life, while somewhere someone is kissing a face that is crying. While somewhere women are walking about at 2 a.m, many miles to find water. While somewhere a bomb is getting ready to explode. Of Goodness, page 60 from Redbird, poems by Mary Oliver. Of goodness, how good that the clouds travel as they do, like the long dresses of the angels of our imagination, or gather in storm masses, then break with the gifts of replenishment. And how good that the trees shelter the patient birds in their thick leaves, and how good that in the fields next morning Redbird frolics again, his throat full of song. And how good that the dark ponds, refreshed, are holding the white cups of the lilies, so that each is an eye that can look upward. And how good that the little blue-winged teal comes paddling among them, as cheerful as ever, and so on, and so on. All right. I think that I just kind of paged through things that I wanted to read. There may or may not be a rhyme or reason, but there probably is in some majestic and eternal way. So, with that being said, I hope you enjoyed listening. I find your poems quite inspirational. That's kind of a trite word to describe that, but I guess that's the word. Inspirational and full of, I don't know, it's kind of a personal meaning sometimes. Of course, her meaning, but I think we can all relate and sort of, resonate with some of those words. All right. Well, do remember, I'll take my drink. Do remember, if you enjoyed the video, to go ahead and leave a comment, and do you like it, or subscribe, or both of those things, actually. So I trust at least some of those poems I think I read with the right expression. Still kind of working on it, so just bear with me. I'm definitely trying to feel this stuff as I'm reading it with the right intonation, the right vibe, the right presence, the right spirit from which she was probably feeling some of these things. And it's all very, well, it's very poetic. Duh. But, all right. Well, thanks for watching. And like I said before, if you enjoyed that, just let me know. All right. Thank you.